Now there's going to be a tribute to Dr. Charles McLean, and that is going to be given by Chief Justice Mary Russell, who attended Truman and received her BA and BS in Communications and Print Media, summa cum laude, in 1980. She came to Truman as a Pershing Scholar after being named valedictorian of her graduating class at Hannibal High School. Mary went on to complete her Juris Doctorate at the University of Missouri Columbia School of Law and was a partner in the Hannibal law firm of Clayton and Rhodes before being appointed to the Missouri Court of Appeals in 1995. Judge Russell was appointed to the Supreme Court of Missouri in 2004 and is currently midway through her two-year term, or not quite midway through, right? Her two-year term as Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Missouri. Mary also served on the Truman Board of Governors from 1993 to 1997. Please welcome Chief Justice Russell.
Thank you, Dr. Pano, for that kind introduction. I am so privileged to be here today as we honor Dr. Charles McLean for his many contributions in the transformation of this university, and especially as we celebrate the 40th anniversary of the premier academic award that he created, the Pershing Scholarship. It's so wonderful to see everyone here, past Board of Governor members, current Board of Governor members, alumni, many of Dr. McLean's friends and former colleagues, all here to honor a man whose vision for this university has touched us all. The people gathered together here in this room are indicative of the universal appreciation, admiration, and respect that he commands. Dr. McLean's fame is not only for transforming this university, but also for transforming the lives of all Pershing scholars. As incoming freshmen, we were a little naive, not very worldly, and a little rough around the edges. But just like the metamorphosis that occurs when a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, the Pershing experience through the education offered at this university transformed us into well-educated, worldly, and polished college graduates, ready to be outstanding leaders in our communities. Regardless of your relationship with Dr. McLean, I think all of you will agree that in his own unique way, he makes each one of us feel that we have a special relationship with him. I certainly remember the first time I met him. In the spring of 1976, I interviewed for the Pershing Scholarship. And those of you that went through that Pershing experience and that scholarship interview remember it vividly, right? There we were, age 17, seated at a table with 10 university administrators and professors. And back in my day, it was all men except one woman. The scholarship committee peppered us with all kinds of questions regarding national and world affairs. And at the time when I was there was a great deal of concern about the world population explosion and how we should deal with it. So one of my interviewers asked me the question on how we could solve that problem. Well, being a farm girl, I quickly answered, castration could work. Well, despite my foolish answer, I was escorted to Dr. McLean's office to meet him. I was so intimidated by the idea of meeting the president of a university and the fear of being in the same room with a man with Dr. McLean's amazing reputation. It was as though I was meeting the great and powerful Oz. But little did I know that this would be the beginning of a long and valued friendship. Certain that I'd blown the interview, I was really shocked when I received the letter awarding me the Pershing Scholarship. My life was changed forever. As many of you recounted on the Pershing Anniversary guest book online, but for this scholarship, we would have not been able to afford to attend college. Or at the very least, the scholarship would have given us the financial freedom to not have to hold down several part-time jobs and enter into student loans. Instead, it gave us the opportunity to engage in more academic and social activities on campus. As Pershing scholar Lisa Gilbert, a 2004 graduate and currently a PhD candidate in education, said, "We were given the gift of 4 unfettered years to explore the wealth of disciplines taught on Truman's campus, and to take advantage of the chance to learn so deeply that upon graduation we were prepared to pursue questions we hadn't even thought of asking yet." But Dr. McLean's gift of the Pershing Scholarship to us had much more meaning than great financial benefits. Being valued as a student, in addition to being instilled with a sense of confidence and an opportunity to succeed, were immeasurable gifts. Another Pershing scholar, Linda Eller, said, "It provided me a platform to catapult my career." Some of you younger Pershings only know Dr. McLean by legacy alone, or by the name on the building with the bright purple carpet. So I thought maybe a little refresher about the architect of this scholarship, and indeed the progress of this great university, might be in order. Dr. McLean already had an impressive resume by the time he became president at what was then known as Northeast Missouri State College. He began his career in education at the ripe age of 16, teaching in a one-room schoolhouse near Merrimack State Park, south of St. Louis. After a few positions in between, he went on to be the founder and first president of Jefferson College in Hillsborough, Missouri. And that brings us up to his entry to this institution. I recently asked one of the members of the board that hired Dr. McLean to lead the college, Judge James Reinhardt, whether all these accomplishments persuaded him that Dr. McLean was the right person for this job. He said, "No, we hired him because he was short like me." In all seriousness, Judge Reinhardt said, Dr. McLean was smart, he could communicate well, he was not overbearing, he had all the qualities that we wanted as a president. Dr. McLean presided over this institution from 1970 till 1989, which would prove to be a momentous period in this institution's history. His vision transformed an institution primarily known as a regional teachers college into a nationally recognized university and put Truman State on the map. The Pershing Scholarship was one of his first steps to achieve that goal. The scholarship is unique among Missouri institutions of higher learning and is recognized throughout the Midwest as one of the most prestigious awards offered to high school graduates. It's named after General John J. Pershing, the commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force in World War I, who hailed from Northeast Missouri and received a bachelor's in elementary didactics in 1880 from North Missouri Normal School, which would eventually become this university. Dr. McLean saw that scholarships were available for students who participated in sports, and he thought it was important to put academic excellence on equal footing with athletics. He also learned from his days in teaching in a one-room schoolhouse that students learn often as much as they do from other students as they do from their instructor. And he hoped that enticing a small group of highly qualified students would increase the quality of the student body as a whole. The Pershing Scholarship was established in 1972, and the first Pershing scholars arrived during the 1973-74 academic year. And some of them are with us today. Would you all please stand? It's hard to estimate the impact of the Pershing Scholarship and of its recipients here at the university. In a foreword to the 1982 Pershing Directory, Dr. McLean wrote, it was my hope that the Pershing scholars would virtually recapture the oftentimes neglected glory of distinguished public service. It was my hope that the scholars would be the new ambassadors for the university so that its future could be even more distinguished than its proud past. It was my hope that this exceptionally bright group of young men and women would revitalize the scholarship of our faculty, who occasionally became numbed and discouraged by mediocrity. The Pershing scholars, all of you, have made Dr. McLean proud. Every year for the past 40 years, the Pershing Scholarship brings to campus a nucleus of outstanding students, and these students have driven the transformation of this university. It's no accident that since the Pershing Scholarship was established, this university has 17 times been named the #1 public university in the Midwest. And as Dr. McLean predicted, excellence was contagious. The Pershing Scholars invigorated the faculty to set high expectations and inspired their classmates to live up to them. But Pershing Scholars are not the type to take their success for granted. They understand that to whom much has been given comes much responsibility. As my father asked me on the day of my graduation, now that you've received 4 years of education free, how are you going to repay that debt? Pershing Scholars have gone on to serve the greater good in many ways, as distinguished doctors, lawyers, politicians, judges, accountants, engineers, and like Dr. McLean, educators. By excelling in their vocations, the Pershing Scholars have been ambassadors for the university, just as Dr. McLean had hoped they would be. The Pershing Scholars have also been helping guarantee that the future Truman students will get the same outstanding education they received. In addition to serving as guest speakers in various classes and engaging in university activities, a number of Pershing Scholars offer internship opportunities to current students and are involved with area alumni chapters. Pershing Scholars have gone on to represent the university as members of the Board of Governors, professors, and staff, helping to educate the highly qualified students like themselves. With us today, we have Pershing Scholars Susan Plasmeyer and Sarah Burkamper, currently serving on our Board of Governors, as well as former Board of Governor members and Pershing Scholars Randa Rollins, Dr. Marie Evans, Dr. Dorothy Munch, and Rick Brockmeyer, who was a student member on the board during his time here. Among the many Pershing Scholars currently serving the university, we also have Dr. Deborah Kirby, who is the Dean of the School of Business. And many of you have pinched in financially, too. Several years ago, Dr. McLean challenged challenged Pershing Scholars to raise additional money for the scholarship fund and promised to contribute $1 for every $3 that they contributed. The response was fantastic. You all contributed $75,000, and Dr. McLean gladly contributed $25,000. Pershing Scholars have been generous in other ways, too. Kevin and Bonnie Kibler, for example, have established a foundation scholarship to provide financial support for those deserving social science students. And perhaps the greatest contribution, Pershing Scholars keep sending their own children here, too. Today we have with us Jill Salmon, who is attending with her son Ben, who graduated just this past spring. The opportunities afforded by the Pershing Scholarship continue to grow since I was a student. Now, today, in addition to full tuition and room and board, Pershing Scholars receive a $4,000 stipend to help cover the cost of studying abroad. Now, I wonder if we older Pershings can get some retroactivity on this. I like that. Because of his great vision in creating the scholarship, Dr. McLean was always at the center of this amazing experience of being a Pershing Scholar. He knew that recruiting students was key to the university's success, but once he had them recruited, he had to make sure they had an outstanding experience while they were here. So while he was president, Dr. McLean always took a special interest in the Pershing Scholars. He has a memory like no one I've ever met. He always remembered all of our names, our parents' names, and even what our passions were. Dr. Dawn Taglioni, a Pershing Scholar, 1990 graduate and now a neurosurgeon, recalls a time when Dr. McLean personally arranged for her to have a legislative internship in Jefferson City because he thought it would be a good experience for her. But it would have required her to give up her musical activities on campus. So Dr. McLean took it upon himself to make arrangements with the director of the ensemble that she was an accompanist for to allow her to step down temporarily. The diligent eye of Dr. McLean that he kept on Pershing Scholars has a special meaning for me. I also participated in the legislative internship program, and while another Pershing Scholar and I were in Jefferson City, we spotted Dr. McLean's car one night parked outside the old Ramada Inn while he was down there on business. We thought it'd be fun to TP his car. So we did. We decorated with just a little toilet paper, and we sped off into the night, confident that he never knew who did it. And for a long time, I thought I was right. Despite the many conversations I'd had with him over the years, he never mentioned a thing about it. Phew, I thought. So, without any hesitation, 16 years later, I asked him to be a speaker at my investiture ceremony for the Court of Appeals. To my utter astonishment, Dr. McClain revealed in front of an audience that included the governor, Supreme Court judges, family and friends, not to mention my new colleagues, that he had known all along about my youthful indiscretion and was waiting for just the right opportunity to use this valuable information. Dr. McClain, now you know why I didn't invite you to be a speaker when I went on the Supreme Court. But the creation of the Pershing Scholarship was just the beginning of Dr. McClain's visionary leadership for this institution. In addition to attracting the best students and professors, he implemented a revolutionary value-added program to measure the strengths and weaknesses of students, which won the university the G. Theodore Matthau Award for Innovation and Change in Higher Education, and led the U.S. News and World Report to rank the university as one of the 5 most innovative colleges in the country. In many ways, his vision for the university culminated in 1985 when, under his direction, he successfully guided a statutory change to the legislature and a governor's signature that transitioned the mission from a regional university to Missouri's only statewide liberal arts and sciences university. Even after he left the university, Dr. McClain's legacy continues to animate what it means to be a Pershing Scholar. Current and future Pershing Scholars will reap the benefit of his legacy. They can thank Dr. McClain as they enjoy their freedom to explore the vast wealth of knowledge available in Truman's classes. They have Dr. McClain to thank for the excellent professors and student body that make the university such an invigorating place to study. And they should thank Dr. McClain when future employers nationwide seek them out because they are graduates of such an outstanding university. And as they plan for graduate study, they can rest assured Truman boasts a 97% law school acceptance rate, a 70% medical school acceptance rate, and the 8th best CPA pass rate in the nation. Thanks in no small part to Dr. McClain's visionary program tracking student performance. Well, we all have so many reasons to celebrate and honor Dr. McClain for his leadership, his foresight, his devotion, his generosity, and his friendship. I am so grateful for this opportunity to be able to say a few words about his immeasurable contributions to this university and to the Pershing Scholarship on its 40th anniversary. In closing, I'm sure that you all agree with me that no matter how you know Dr. McClain, whether you're a former student, a member of the faculty, colleague, or longtime friend, your association has had a perpetual impact upon your life. We evolved into the people we are today in large part because of the opportunities that he created for us, the value he added to our lives. Truly, he transformed us all forever. From all of us, thank you, Dr. McClain.
Thank you, Judge Russell.